Lesson 7.5, Video 2. So let's try factoring these difference of two squares again. Now, in looking at this, there's one error that we have, and this should be a y right here. That should be a y. So now, if we look at this and say, are each terms rootable? The 4 and 9 are rootable, but the y's are not because they're not squared. So we have to step back and say, well, let's look at simplest terms here. What do both of them have? And hopefully in doing that, it'll create something we can factor. Well, I notice that they both have a y. So if I take that out, I get 9y squared minus 4. Now, in looking at that, I have 9y squared, which is rootable. I have 4, which is rootable, and they're being subtracted. So they are a difference of two squares, which means I can factor them. So the first term gets rooted, and we write that in the first position of each parentheses. The second term gets rooted, write that in the second place of each parentheses, and again we have to make sure we have different signs so they can be considered conjugates, and that's factored. Our next one, again, there's a typo. This should be an x. Alright, so again, what do they both have? Well, they both have an x in common. Now, this does not matter, but I'm going to take a negative x out. I could leave it in there, and there'll still be a difference of two terms, but we've gotten into the habit of factoring out a negative when it's in the front term, so let's continue that. And that leaves us with 4x squared plus 9. Or excuse me, when I factor out that negative, that changes it to a minus, because I factored out a negative 1 as well. So the sign's changed. Now that is a difference of two squares. The first term gets rooted, and I write that in the first position. The last term gets rooted, and I write that in the second position. And they must be conjugates, so I have different signs. And that is considered factored. Alright, now notice this term, a little bit different. It has the variable in the second term, but again, that's okay. We still ask ourselves the same question. Are both terms rootable? And 121 is rootable. 4b squared is rootable. So we can factor this right from the beginning. Nothing has to be factored out. The first term I root. Root of 121 is 11. 11 times 11 is 121. The root of 4b squared is 2b. And again, they must be conjugates. So different signs. And that's factored. And this ends Lesson 7.5, Video 2.